I have absolutely zero sympathy for the PERVs, the PDFs, the groomers, all those sorts of freak shows. I got zero compassion, empathy, sympathy for. Now, you may view these situations as, well, that's just a person who was broken. That's a person who was violated throughout their own childhood or whatever else it is. And I get that. I completely understand. But when an individual becomes the very same thing themselves and they are violating kids, your compassion, gone. You opted out of my compassion and out of my sympathy for you when you made the decision to do what you did to them kids. It's really that simple. They are one of the classifications of criminals that I believe do not deserve the quote unquote second chance. I don't. I'm not going to be apologetic about it. Oh, but man, that's not the godly way. Look, God can deal with them folks how God's going to deal with them folks. That's just my own sentiment. So when I saw this story, and this was actually a story I saw a little while back, I did not see the sentencing because they were still going through the trial and things of that nature. The story was just emerging of this teacher that had violated one of, or I guess maybe even a few of her students. But the thing that breaks my heart is a lot of these stories are now coming out. And I believe it's because there's more attention and awareness being placed on this. Finally, we're caring as much as we should, right? But more specifically about female teachers or women who are these PDF files, right? It's been so long that we carry this image of a gross sort of, I guess, Cheeto in the belly button looking type of guy. You know, the dude creeping by the schoolyards, but instead it can be the very teachers that are on campus in these classrooms with these kids. And so, you know, my message is this before we get into the video is please, parents, please remember that your number one obligation and duty as a parent is towards your child's safety. It's your child's safety, physical, mental, emotional. That is your job. Yes, it's taxing. Yes, it's a lot. Yes, sometimes it feels like you can't do it and you're overwhelmed. But that is the responsibility that has been given to you through bringing those kids into this life. And it will always be that way until, of course, they now have the right to make their own autonomous decisions about everything as an adult. But still, as they're in your guardianship, please, that means look at who the hell their teachers are, who these people sense things out. Get some discernment about you, right? Pray for discernment just so you can get the understanding necessary to look in your environment and to say, you're better off being wrong about somebody than being right and not doing something. So let's get into this video right here. A gratifying moment, if I do say so myself. So.
Deeply ashamed of my actions and the harm that I inflicted. I ripped away their childhoods. Instead of following the path of what a teacher should be.
She's not crying because she's remorseful. She's crying because she got caught and she's going to jail.
Let my selfishness override the boy's best interests. So sorry.
Ma, who was named one of San Diego County's teachers.
Should be.
Okay, let me run this back. I don't know if that was just my sound or not. I was only hearing it from one headphone and then it did a weird pop. So now I can hear from both. So let me go ahead and run that back. Apologize if you already saw this.
Deeply ashamed of my actions and the harm that I inflicted. I ripped away their childhoods. Instead of following the path of what a teacher should be, I let my selfishness override the boy's best interests. I'm so sorry.
Ma, who was named one of San Diego County's Teachers of the Year in 2022, was arrested in March of 2023
and
on allegations.
Another thing, I have to let this be said. When it comes to the boys, you know, there's this idea of like, well, if she's a hot teacher, she's a younger, attractive teacher, then it's passable. It's okay. He chose. It could be a 16-year-old boy and a 24-year-old teacher, and it is still a violation. Oh, but he consented. No, he didn't, because he cannot. That I do believe we have correct in the law. He cannot. If we say that the brain is not even finished developing now upwards till 30 years old or whatever, but yet a 15, 16-year-old boy. Now, of course, with, the woke nonsense that's been going on, they're saying that a little kid can change their entire gender if they made the decision that morning, right? So there's a lot of these insane ideas about what a child can consent to. But when it comes to boys specifically, I think there's been a lot less empathy towards, a lot less compassion, a lot less understanding to say this is just as real as it is for the girls. And the boy moms out there can attest to this, to say, or even if you got a brother or whatever it is, if you got a young man in your life that you love, it hits different. It's easier to then sympathize and be like, wait, if somebody violated my boy like that, it's not going down. And so again, this is to say we have to start looking at the entire reality, I guess you would say. There could be quote unquote good looking men that are they're PDF files. They are that. Oh, but he's good looking, so he's not a creep. You know what I mean? It's like, what's that damn meme? There's a meme of flirt versus creep. And it's two different dudes saying the same thing to the same woman. One is a creep and one is a flirt. Right? One is, oh, wow, that's flattering. And the other is, get away from me based upon appearance, etc. We can't have that mentality when it comes to our kids. We can't have that mentality. You can't be smitten by an idea of who somebody is. Oh, they're a celebrity. They're famous. Let me give my kids to them. R. Kelly, Michael Jackson. What the hell was wrong with those parents? The parents of the kids throughout the entire Disney machine and Nickelodeon machine, they'll give their children over. They'll sacrifice their children to the altar of these quote unquote celebrities. Of course, there's narcissistic parents and things of that nature, but I'm talking to those of y'all who can actually hear me because you have a sense of humanity in you. We need to protect these kids. And this teacher, again, she might be a younger teacher. Maybe she was attractive without all the booger, nose, snot, whatever it is. But guess what? She still is a creep. And she doesn't deserve your quote unquote sympathy because she is these things. Oh, she didn't understand. She didn't understand. Well, they had a thing. He was flirting with her. No. He's a boy. He's a child. She's a child. And that was a violation. So again, it's not to scare people. I don't like to create this idea that the world is such a terrible place and everything is to be feared, but it is to bring awareness to say, you got to be vigilant because that was somebody's child. You got to be aware and you got to be willing to be decisive. Don't be a people pleaser and, well, I'm just trying to be nice. I don't want to be, that person. No. Walk through life, not with this fearful paranoia, but with discernment and a willingness to face the truth when you see it. Say, you know what? That's off. That's suspect. Willingness to have those conversations with your children. You don't need to always be their damn friend. Sometimes you need to be a parent and you need to have the access to whatever they're having access to, because we live in a very different world now. This ain't the world of you, the world that you grew up in, maybe, or the world that your parents grew up in. Privacy was just in a journal that you were writing little notes to yourself. Nah, this is a world where they have access to everybody and everything. And unfortunately, this happened in a place where they should feel the safest. At their school.
She groomed two boys, aged 12 and 11 at the time of the abuse, and entered into a sexual relationship with one of them and tried to with the other.
Boys this age should be playing outside, feeling carefree.
That's a PR statement.
And
you don't mean
enjoying their
it.
last few years of childhood.
You're mad you got caught.
I thrusted them into adulthood.
Just to continue to be vigilant that there no space on the internet is safe for children.
Goodbye.
Ma is eligible for parole after.
You hear what I just said? I didn't even know he was going to say that right there. Listen to him. What'd he say?
Be vigilant that there no space on the internet is safe for children.
Ma is
no space, which means that you need to be involved. There are applications, etc., that you can use. There are But it's my child's privacy. No, you don't want to put up with the tantrum your child's going to put up with. They're addicted to their device. I get it. But again, this is about your number one responsibility, their safety. Their safety. That one decision could lead to that child having a very different life experience because they were violated as a kid. There's too much of this going on. And number one is obviously to punish accordingly those who are like this. I believe these people should be incarcerated. They should be behind bars. They cannot be a part of the grander society. At a certain time in history, these may have been the people that we, as a community, unalived. We handled them. If you are a disruption to the community, if you're a psychopath and you are taking people's lives, you are going to get rid, like we're going to get rid of you. You are going to be eradicated from our community. We can't do with these types of people. They are a danger to the most vulnerable within our society. These people. You look at her. Oh my goodness. Oh, she's a young woman. But she deserves a second chance. No, she can do her second chance in that prison. Eyes puffy as hell. Look at that. Looking like a sea urchin. Yeah, goodbye and good riddance. I believe the sentence was what? Is it 25 or something like that? 20 or 25 years? And then she's going to become a red dot for the rest of her life. A red dot on your map. A red pinpoint. No sympathy. No sympathy. No sympathy. You lose. Look, I respect you because you're showing yourself to be respect worthy. I show you compassion because you show remorse. You don't owe me compassion if I'm doing something and I'm not remorseful about it. I don't feel any type of way about it. As a matter of fact, I feel justified in it. That's not true compassion. Because what about compassion for the one who was violated? What about that, huh? That's who needs your compassion. That's who needs your energy. Again, some people are going to say I'm wrong. That's not the godly way. All forgiveness is what? Absolving, right? Washing your hands of a situation. How am I going to wash myself of the hands of a situation to somebody like this? Put them in the place they need to be. Wash my hands. Forgave. Not let them out. Not let them roam and continue to violate more and more kids. Absolutely not. That's what we're not going to do. So yeah, parents, you're doing your best. A lot of y'all are doing y'all best, and it's not easy. And nobody can ever tell you how to raise your children specifically. But I will say that it is your job and your responsibility, your duty to take care of these kids. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there. Or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3, 6, 5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.